The NBA draft is the best thing for young basketball prodigies around the world. When you work so hard to apply the talent God has given you and Adam Silver called their name, there can't be a better feeling in the world for basketball players. But what can be a dream for young NBA talent can be a nightmare for NBA franchises. Drafting in the NBA is by far the hardest thing GMs have to do on a yearly basis. Imagine you spend a whole season tanking, going out there every night just to lose, plummeting your ticket sales and the value of your franchise for a top draft spot, just for you to take Anthony Bennett, and do nothing but set your franchise back. Now, some teams have an eye for drafting well and annually bringing in good players like the Lakers, believe it or not, and the San Antonio Spurs. And other teams are not as lucky, including Phoenix and the team I wanted to make this video about, the Charlotte Hornets. Michael Jordan bought the Hornets in 2010, and I don't know if he bought them to bring them back to NBA glory for the first time or to resell it for a $1.7 billion profit, but I would guess his goal was to do both. But since 2010, 13 full seasons, they've only made the playoffs 3 times, and they've never made it to the second round. This has led to an abundance of high draft picks, and all in all, they've missed on nearly all of them, with their worst ones being Frank Kaminsky in 2015 over guys like Miles Turner and Devin Booker, and in 2012, they took Michael Kidd-Gilchrist with the second pick over guys like Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard. Now, of course, it's easy to shame these franchises in hindsight because we already know how good these players have become, but like I said, that's why I said drafting is a nightmare, as one bad pick can really set your franchise back. I did some research and found out the average NBA career is 4.5 years, and due to load management and injuries, I lowered the amount of games played a season by players to 65 games, so the average career is roughly 290 games, give or take. Since the 2008 draft class, 273 players have had an average career, which is not bad when you think about it. Then you realize 960 players have been drafted since then. So you have a 28% chance of drafting a guy who's not even an all-star, just has an average career. If we were to shorten this down to lottery talent, I bet we get a higher number. So we have 122 lottery picks that have had an average career, and there's 224 players that have been drafted in the lottery. So you have a bit more than a half of a chance of drafting an average player in the lottery at 54%. But even the chance of that player becoming good for you and your particular franchise is slim. Players get moved all the time. Now, what does this have to do with the Hornets? Like I said earlier in the video, the Hornets have had very poor drafting in the past couple of years with choices like James Bouknight, Frank Kaminsky, Noah Vonleh, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and it goes on and on and on. Am I going to sit here and blame the Hornets for their inability to draft? No, because I feel like it's one of the hardest things to do, and I don't think there's a science behind it. I think it's just luck, honestly. Scouts all generally agree on which players are the best and what range they should be drafted in. You can call me crazy for thinking this, but it has to be luck. No draft is perfect. Number 1 picks don't always pan out, and second round picks become MVPs and defensive players of the years. So the luck might have ran out when Michael Jordan became the owner of that place. Now, we all know the Hornets took Brandon Miller with the second pick in this year's draft. Now, you may be thinking, Brandon Miller is a really good player. What is wrong with that? And I agree with it too. I love Brandon Miller's game. He sits next to LaMelo Ball. He's a great shooter and a great defender. But I think there was somebody ahead of him who was a little bit better, Scoot Henderson. For the past year, we've been hearing about Scoot Henderson alongside Victor Wembanyama, and it's not just for any reason. These are elite prospects to my eye and the public eye, but I truly believe that when you're drafting, you have to pick the best player possible no matter what. I get it, Scoot is a point guard and LaMelo Ball is a point guard, but when you've been hearing the whole year that if Victor Wembanyama wasn't a person, Scoot would be the undisputed number 1 overall draft pick in the class, you can't pass on that. You don't pass on that. But like you said, they're both great point guards, so let me tell you why I think drafting the best player available is the best option dang near no matter what, especially for a team that has struggled to put talent in Charlotte for decades. Take the Philadelphia 76ers. Everybody knows the process and who it revolves around, the current MVP, Joel Embiid. But in the 2013 NBA draft, the Sixers had already traded for a lottery center in Nerlens Noel. Now, of course, it took him a minute to play because he got injured his first year, but still, with a young center on the roster, you would expect the Philadelphia 76ers to go a different direction. But in the 2014 NBA draft, they picked up Joel Embiid, another center, and he ended up becoming an MVP. They could have easily drafted for fit in that draft and ended up with Aaron Gordon or Dante Exum, but they took a future MVP, which I'm sure they don't regret at all. And it didn't even end there. They still weren't sold on Joel Embiid because of all the early injury problems. So in the 2015 NBA draft, they drafted another center in Jahlil Okafor, who was the best player available, even though they missed out on that one. Now, people may think I'm alluding to thinking that Brandon Miller is a future bust, and that's not true at all. I love Brandon Miller. He feels like a can't-miss prospect alongside Scoot and Wemby. But this alludes back to why drafting is so hard. If you look at the last 15 top 3 prospects, how many times do all 3 of the top 3 prospects in one draft end up becoming all-stars? That's what Charlotte needs. Charlotte needs all-stars and talent. They don't need any more role players, and they damn sure don't need any more busts. Let me go back to me saying, I'm not saying Brandon Miller is a bust. I'm saying the chances of all 3 of these top guys, even Wemby, becoming just an all-star is slim. And when you pick the worst player, in my opinion, out of that bunch, I feel like you're losing value, especially when Scoot Henderson is on the board. The last time the top 3 players in the one draft class all became all-stars was 2016 with Ben Simmons, Jaylen Brown, and Brandon Ingram. But even Ben Simmons had to fall into the trend and forget how to play basketball. Let's look at 2003, the greatest draft class of all time. Wait, who is this? My bad. So we actually have to go back to the 1999 draft. Elton Brand, Steve Francis, and Baron Davis. Like I said, I know I'm reiterating this, but I'm not saying Brandon Miller is a bust or a future role player. It could be any of these top 3 guys. It could be Scoot. Hell, it could be Wemby. I personally have just learned not to take liking or to trust any prospect. I remember I was so sold on Josh Jackson becoming the next Kawhi Leonard, and now the last time we've heard about him professionally, he was getting cut by a G League team. But honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really think the Hornets could have missed when your options are Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson. I've just personally told myself from now on, do not get excited about any prospect. Let them grow, let them be young, and develop your opinions on them in 5 years down the line, not fresh out of college. LaMelo's a fun young player, and I want to see what he can do in this league with talent. So I hope that they can figure it out. Let me know what you think about the situation with Brandon Miller. Did they make the right pick, or am I tripping? Or do you think they should have went with Scoot Henderson? Thank you so much for watching. If you like basketball commentary, make sure you subscribe, like, turn on post notifications, and I'm out, man.